It's to prepare, of course.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll talk about this. We had a county meeting and I'm telling
It's to prepare, of course.
10 years ago, you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll talk about this. It's tough to be at that point. Not do anything.
Are we on?
We are on.
Okay.
We are ready.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. The special meeting that is. Roll call please, Veronica.
Ms. Caston-Latourette.
Here.
Mr. Coleman.
Here?
Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray.
I'm here.
Mr. Buziak. Ms. I.
Here.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Ms. Owen.
Okay. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'll get there.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public comments, do we have anything, Denise, surrounding this?
No.
All right. On to action items. Did Audrey come?
Yep, Audrey
Let
is
the
here.
record show that Audrey.
Here.
There she is. Hi. On to action items. I move that we approve the intergovernmental agreement with Lake County, Illinois, as presented.
Second.
Dr. Lynn, could you please remind everyone what this is?
Yes, this is a requirement in order for us to get money from the county that they have been given from the federal government. So the federal government, through the CARES Act that was passed earlier this year, got a bunch of federal funding, and they decided to support schools with it. So that's lovely and wonderful, and we're thankful to the county for that. In order for us to get the money, they are requiring an intergovernmental agreement, and this is approving it so we can get the money, and it's due this week, so Wednesday. We could not wait any longer, and that's why we had to have a special meeting in order to approve just this intergovernmental agreement so that we can take advantage of that. It's about $62,000 in that range that we'll get from the county, which is wonderful. The county was given initially $4 million, and then it increased, I believe, up to about $7 million in government funds that they could distribute then. So that's what we're doing, and we have spent more than $62,000 on COVID-related expenses, far more than that, but this will definitely help us out, so we appreciate it.
And we don't have a mechanism by which the county gives us money like this. I mean, we
Right.
they do the levy and property tax stuff, but they don't do, we don't usually get this kind of funding for them, so we have to.
It's similar to the intergovernmental agreement we have for the, what's it called? The abatement, the money when people build a house.
Oh,
And they're in
yes.
unincorporated Lake County.
Yes.
We do have an intergovernmental agreement for that as well.
For impact fees.
Impact fees, that's it.
Yeah, correct.
Does anybody have any questions about this before we vote on it? Okay, roll call please, Veronica.
Ms. Caston-Latourette.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes?
Mr. Gray.
Yes.
You watch TV.
Ms. I.
Right here, Tony. Why don't
Yes.
you look?
Mr. Murphy.
What is that?
Ms. Ori.
Yes.
Is that it? Okay. The item passes. There being no further business, I'd like to move that we adjourn the special meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. On to the committee of the whole meeting. So we just had that, for anybody who's watching at home, we just had that short meeting to approve that one intergovernmental agreement because we had to do it by a certain date. The rest of this meeting is a committee of the whole meeting, which is a discussion only meeting. We don't take action or vote on things on committee of the whole meetings. So I'd like to call this meeting to order. We can dispense with the roll call and the pledge. Any new public comments, Denise?
No, there aren't.
Nothing? Okay. I have not had any addition of this information or discussion items. On to the first item of discussion, which is the first reading of board policies. Sean, do you have any highlights for us?
Nope, not on this one.
These are kind of,
Yep, and they're linked to the agenda, so if anybody would like to read through them and has any comments, these have, the way we do this is we have what is presented as potential along with footnotes that references the current laws that the policy supports or tries to follow. So, and it highlights any changes in there and gives an explanation of why that might be a school board policy. So these are basic, pretty basic policies that we don't have a whole lot of choice. And then when we do have choice, it says in the footnotes about, school districts may decide to do this or this. And we can always make additional policies on top of that, of course, but these are the bare bones basic policies that help us follow state laws or federal laws or school code and/or.
so nothing controversial in this particular batch,
Not that I am aware of at this time, no.
except teaching about controversial issues.
Teaching about controversial, well, right. There's a
So-
process, so this just highlights the process.
So if we could all review these, and come back with any questions, or email Dr. Lind if you have questions, or me, then we'll have the second one up. So we won't approve these for a while.
No, we'll approve them at the next meeting.
Time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because these aren't new or totally different policies, so generally, a lot of school districts approve them in one meeting because they don't have a committee of the whole meeting, so they're just on a rolling agenda unless there's a major change or it impacts school districts major. But it's good to read through them, understand what's in policy and what is changing from time to time. So these are pretty basic updates.
Yeah, because it's the board's policy, so. Right. So, on to district goals. Dr. Lind.
Okay. So I'm going to just keep rolling the district goals on any activities that we're doing that are aligned to the district goals that we approved last month. So just as priority number 1 was social emotional health of students and staff, and let me just pull these up so everybody can see them. Let's see if I can get this out of the way for you. So priority number 1, social emotional health of students and staff. We do have 2 extracurricular activities going on right now. We have cross country. The cross country state series, there won't be a state cross country series for the Educational School Association. So there's a high school association, IHSA, and then the Illinois Elementary School Association, which is IESA. Typically we would have a sectional and a state. This year we're only having a sectional, I believe. I don't believe we're doing state, but that could change at any moment. And that sectional's in Rockford. Our kids have been doing some meets with under the safety protocols of the IESA, and it's going relatively well at this point. So that meet is this week. I can't remember which day it is. It's Tuesday or Wednesday. It's in,
Wednesday, but I'm not positive.
it's yeah, I think Wednesday sounds familiar, and I think it's out near Rockford this year.
It is roughly.
We've also implemented a golf club, or not just a club, but a golf as an activity, and that's going on. And we will be doing more activities throughout the school year with kids. We're looking at, I'll talk a little bit more about some other ideas, but we're looking at different activities for kids to get involved in as the school year goes. Nothing new at this point that we know of, but once we get into a rhythm and get some things going, I think there'll be more opportunities for kids. Priority 2, student learning. We did the map test. We are almost done with that. I can't look at the district summary information until we close the window officially with MAP, and we've got 10 kids who need to have makeup tests yet. So there's just a few kids left to do makeup tests, and then we will go. Then I'll be able to see the district summary reports and make that easy. It went very well. The only exceptions was with first grade, doing it remotely with first grade didn't go so hot. So we stopped doing that. That's really tough to do. Parents have to really be involved in that, and all the tech has to go just perfectly. It's a real big challenge, and we just gave up on that, and hopefully we'll try again in the winter, or we'll bring them into school at some point if they're willing to be able to do that. But first through third we did in school, and then the remote sections in second, third were able to get them completed, and it worked. But those little first graders didn't work, so we gave up on that one, as some other school districts in the area have done as well. But thankfully we've got everybody else tested, and we have other assessments that we're doing with those students, so we'll get an idea. I'm more interested in the bigger picture of where we're headed, and teachers are getting a pretty good idea of where the kids are at and how they're doing, both in the remote environment and at school, the in-person environment, and so they're getting to know their kids pretty well at this point and have a good idea of how they're tracking. So that'll be interesting to look at how our MAP test overall, where we line up. And it won't be perfect. It's a new environment, different environment. We can't guarantee that the kids didn't use Siri on their device to help them answer some of the questions, or older brother, or parents, or whomever. And so we'll take that into account. But I think it's a pretty good measure, and it's overall we'll be able to see where we're at. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully by the next meeting I'll have something put together as a comparison point. Putting support in. Of course, we're providing meals to those in need. Steve could probably give us an idea of how many meals we're doing each week, but it's a lot.
4,000 for September.
4,000 for September. So we provided 4,000 meals for September, which is wonderful, and getting all that organized is a tremendous task.
That's awesome. Good work, Steve.
Definitely. Supports in place to prevent at-risk students from slipping through the cracks. So we're looking at RTI, and we're possibly looking at adding an additional support with RTI and Lexia. Our teachers are currently doing that at the elementary building. We have some of our paraprofessionals are delivering some of those services at the middle school level, and we're looking for additional support on top of that for some of our students who are struggling. So we're starting to see some kids who are falling off the pace because of remote learning or in-person learning, or just in general because of stress and anxiety, which there's plenty of. So we're keeping an eye on those kids. We're tracking them, getting names from teachers, and looking for who needs more support. So that's happening on a regular basis. Priority 3, the curriculum. Learning opportunities. We have learning opportunities tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow is a staff institute day, and we have planned 1 hour at the elementary level, about 3 hours of learning for teachers, and then the rest of the day will be for them to take that learning and apply it, meet with teams, get some of those ideas in place, and get ready for this week. We're also starting this week to offer a hybrid model for those kids who are forced into quarantine because of symptoms or because they've been in close contact with someone with COVID. We haven't been able to do that yet with our 1st through 5th grade teachers. They just haven't gotten that training and been comfortable with that. So we're going to try to do that for those kids who might have a symptom or might have been exposed, more likely been exposed to someone with COVID or a close contact with someone and must be quarantined for 14 days. Those kids then we're now trying to get them logged back into the classroom so that they can keep up with that rhythm and that at least that schedule while they're out. So that's a very important next step. It's hard for teachers. It's much harder for teachers to be in 2 different environments at the same time in teaching versus if you're just remote or you just have kids in the classroom. That's definitely an easier situation to manage. But we're going to try it. Kindergarten's been doing it. And it's tough, but they're doing it, and they're doing a great job at it. And middle school's been doing it, and it's tough. Some teachers like it, some teachers don't as much, depending on, I think, depending on what their mindset is with that technology. It's just more to get used to. Just one more thing to think about. And managing students that you don't have your eyes on at every moment is tough. You've got to remember to include the kids who have a question on Zoom who are at home and keep them involved in the discussion while you try to keep the kids in the room involved. It's a little bit challenging, but we'll get used to it. I think it'll work, and it won't be terribly easy for our teachers, and some more than others. Some will take to it a little bit quicker, but that's the way it's going, and so we're going to try that this week because that's pretty important.
But we
So-
didn't set it up.
Jason, how many roughly do you know kids are in that category that you're describing right now?
Just a second, Stephen. It wasn't set up that way. It's because these kids are now quarantined at home.
Right,
Okay.
right. What, and I want to be clear. It's for. I'll get to your question in just a second, Stephen. I want to be clear that we want to do it, and we'll have to communicate this for those that are forced into quarantine, not for students who are going on vacation. Because we've had those requests, and I understand that if mom and dad and the family want to go to their cabin in northern Wisconsin for a week and have internet access, why not just connect into the classroom? Well, that's well and good, and I understand that, but again, it's hard on our teachers to manage that, and we want kids who are planning on being in the classroom to be in the classroom and to only manage one environment. And it's a lot more to ask for a teacher. So they're dealing with enough as it is, and we're trying to make it work, and we don't want people to take advantage of that. So what we are telling people is these are for situations where it's medically necessary for kids to be out, where they're either quarantined because they're close contact or they're quarantined because of a symptom. So that will be our stance for now. I'm sorry, Stephen, what was your question?
I just asked how many students this is currently fitting that description.
It's going to vary significantly. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot more as cold and flu season hits because there'll be more kids out with symptoms and more kids out because they've been in close contact with someone. I think we have, I don't know how many on a daily basis. It's probably between 6 and 10 students on a daily basis at the elementary building. Would be my guess off the top of my head.
Primarily just with related symptoms or direct contact?
Well, there were 6 students with direct contact with the one case that we had in school. So there were 6 students that were out for 14 days because of that.
And they have to have the continuity of their teacher, so those
Right. Right.
But it's not like we set up classrooms with, half the classroom there and half the classroom remote. It's that
No.
these kids have been medically removed from the classroom, and we need to keep that continuity for them.
And you're right. And for kids who are a close contact, it's hard for them to say, okay, you're out for 14 days is a long stretch. We want that to go well. We want them back in school. We want all the kids back. We want all the kids in school, but we need to maintain the safety protocols as well. So, and we want to make it as workable as possible for those kids who are out, because it's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard on everybody. Hard on everybody to be out with the kids and the teacher and the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Probably especially the parents with their younger students.
Is there anything?
So, I'm sorry. So that tomorrow, I was getting into tomorrow, so we're preparing for that environment tomorrow. 3 hours of instruction. 1 hour will be on an introduction to restorative practices. There's also going to be some further in-depth training. We're training 25 teachers this year on restorative practices and taking them through a more intense training protocol throughout the year. So they're starting to use these practices in their classroom, but we haven't had an overall big picture view of the whole staff. So we're going to introduce it to our whole staff to say, this is what these people are doing. Don't worry about it. For now, this is where we're headed as a district. And so we're doing that tomorrow. So that's an hour, 1 hour with blended learning, which will be with Apple training, the Apple training person, Kip, who's been working with our district for a while and does a great job. And then the third hour will be with the Regional Office of Education, continuing, and just an update on our standards. What are those critical standards that we're going to hit this year? So that's part of this curriculum goal of communicating out what is it that we expect our kids to get through this particular year under these circumstances.
And is that something that we come up with, or something that the ROE
Together with the
us?
ROE.
Okay.
So it's based on state standards.
But do we give them our plan and then they approve it, or do they come with expectations as well?
Yes and yes. We work together
Okay.
with the ROE. So that they're taking the state standards, and the ROE is nice. It's nice because they're working with other school districts too. So we can get a little bit of a perspective and context for, hey, are we expecting way too much of our kids, or are we expecting way too little of our kids, and how should we be pushing them through, and what are the most critical standards in third grade that we're going to need? If you have to teach 4, which 4 is it to get them? Because we're not looking at just this year. We're looking at years ahead and saying, this COVID will end one way or the other. We're going to come back to school at some point fully, and so how are we going to be prepared when that happens to catch up and move forward with that? So that's where they're helpful with that. It's not just us saying, what do we want to teach? It's saying, okay, what standards are most critical that the kids need moving forward?
I was wondering if it was what was important from our perspective, or what was important from their perspective.
Right.
Yeah. And how those were differed or were the same.
Right.
Interesting.
And we're also, lunch will be provided tomorrow. We're having a food truck come in, and teachers will be able to take advantage of that. So we're inviting all of our staff to come in if they would like to get a lunch. Should be fun. A little bit of interaction with staff and small groups, and spread apart, of course. We'll have to monitor that, but we want to do something nice for the staff, and that's provided by Epic. And then the district is going to kick in a couple bucks to, depending on how many people come. But Epic is providing that meal, so thank you to them, and that's really nice. And priority number 4 is safety. Again, we continue to go by monitor the safety of the cases in the county. We had flu shots last week offered to staff for free if they are part of our staff. So we delivered 77 flu shots. I was hoping actually for more, but I know that a lot of people get their flu shot when they go into their doctor too. So
That was the highest we've ever had too.
this
So
is by far the highest we ever had, and a lot of first timers there. So it was good, including myself. The reason that the flu shot is recommended is not that it's going to stop COVID, but it can help defend against other things that might make you weaker if you get both at the same time. So they're trying to avoid people getting influenza A or influenza B while they have COVID. That would be more for your body to fight off. Also, I think more importantly or more commonly would be the symptoms. It doesn't matter what makes you sick. If you have a sore throat and a headache, you're going to be out for 10 days. And your family could be out for 14 days. So trying to minimize the symptoms and keep everybody as healthy as possible, I think, is important this year.
Yeah, that's one number that we've seen increase is the COVID-like illness.
Like,
That's going on. So that's one thing, of course, that's going to happen during holiday season.
yep. Yeah, definitely. There's going to be more flu. We're hearing that it's a mild flu season, but we don't know that. We don't know. That's it.
All right, thank you for that. On to the Return to Learn plan update, which was kind of included in there. But
It is kind of included, so I'm glad that one first. The only thing I'll add for the Return to Learn update is now we're starting to fill some of the gaps. So I'd like to talk to the board a little bit about the possibility of what some of our next steps are. So there's a couple of different things that I've got written down. So possibly some stipends, and we'll talk about that in closed session because that's a negotiation issue. But one of the areas at the elementary building is accelerated math. So the way our schedule worked this year is we ended up having accelerated math, which includes gifted students, gifted and talented students, outside of the instructional period in the morning. So the kids in school who are in person have 4 hours of instruction in the morning, as do the kids who are remote. But we're taking accelerated math from each of those environments then. There's kids who are in gifted and talented in person and in the remote sections. They have to have a time where they can meet together because there's one class in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. So we needed to have teachers then teach outside in the afternoon this accelerated math. So we've been negotiating that with the union and have come up, I think, with an idea, and I'll talk about that again in closed session. But that's one thing that we will need to be addressed. The other piece that some feedback from parents, again, and one of the pieces that we're missing are those kids who are in that high achieving level, who are really ripping through their work in the morning and doing very well in school, whether they're in person or remote, but just need a little bit more. They may not be in the gifted programming, but they just need some more work. And also, even with our gifted and talented program, we're not addressing reading. So we have students who are meet the criteria for gifted and talented in reading and some in math. Most of them are both, but not all. So we're missing that reading component. So we're talking about different ideas. So I have talked to Nancy Stream, who is our former gifted coordinator who retired last year, about what we could do. I've talked to Melissa Lawrence, who's our ELA coach in 1st through 5th grade, about some possibilities, and Ben and Carrie, our principal and assistant principal, about it. And so we're starting those discussions, and I've had some discussions, and we're leaning toward some sort of reading activity or book club in the afternoon that could be provided by teachers. And it may come back to the board and ask, or likely to come back to the board and ask for some additional hours for Nancy's stream to help put some of that together to support those kids, and work with Melissa Lawrence, who's working with our current reading program. Nancy has the expertise of the gifted programming and the gifted background. Melissa Lawrence has the expertise of our art core curriculum and where everything can fit, and those two working together, I think, could come up with some very good programming for our kids. And then we can have teachers, if they're willing, if we can find some who are willing to provide those extra activities and that extra boost. So I'm excited about getting to that point where we can talk about academics a little bit, and we're kind of enhancing what we're doing now that we kind of know where everything is shaking out. And I've been in school for, how long has 5th grade been in? 2 weeks? 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
5th grades, we've had, elementary's been humming for 2 weeks now. Hopefully that continues, but now we can look at some of these areas where just could use, there's some kids who could use that extra boost, whether it be RTI or those kids who are flying. Can we do something more for them?
I think it's really impressive that you're to this point, that we're to this point. There are a lot of schools that right now are at the point that we were at in July. So I just want to, I guess, congratulate Jason and the whole staff for getting that plan together, getting teacher and community feedback, all the staff feedback. I think that was a crucial element to to the plan flowing smoothly, and I'm really impressed that you're even troubleshooting at this point.
Right, yeah. I am too. It's been a long grind for the administrative team and the leadership teams and teachers getting into it, but man, the effort this summer is paying off now, I think. We're not perfect. It's not perfect. This plan stinks. I keep reminding people, hey, this isn't normal anyway. This is terrible, but we're doing the best we can with what we have. And
but most schools aren't in person at all.
Not at all.
So it's really important to recognize.
It's good to be talking about making sure you take care of the extra programs.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm very pleased about that, and we're very blessed and lucky to have space and resources that other schools, even no matter what they want to do, just can't because of their structure and their limitations and restrictions. So we've had a couple of things help us. Space is one. Yeah, it's huge. Having building space is a big hurdle to overcome, and that's been a big one. So we can spread everybody out. And the staff, we have enough staff to make it work.
And the community's really
Community stepped up.
Yeah.
Parents, so it takes parents being willing to drive, parents being willing to keep their kids home and do remote learning and support the kids that way. Because if we didn't have 30% of our kids willing to stay home, we couldn't do it either. We'd have to do an A-B schedule. So having kids who are willing to do that and get that support is crucial to making it work. So everything is working out fairly well. And we have to have the staff willing to come in and work, and not everybody's as comfortable coming into school and interacting, and it's scary, but they're doing it. They're doing it anyway, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I can speak for the board when I say we are all very appreciative of everyone's efforts and everyone's willingness to get it, bring it all together for the kids, and the community, so.
So, so the next step, I think I'm almost done.
You don't have to.
No.
I just realized.
So I think the next step, I may be asking for more money. I'm sorry, I keep coming back for more money, but as things pop up, we have to fill and take care of it. If the school if the middle school, if we're able to add 2 grade levels simultaneously, which we are considering, we may need more money for another hallway monitor person to help manage the hallways or do some of the supervision, just keeping the kids separated, entering in the morning. There's just we just need more bodies at some point, and so we will see. And I guess the bad news of that is we're understaffed already in our parapros, for especially in special ed and kindergarten associates. We're trying to hire people, and we're just having a hard time finding people as it is. So budget-wise, we're not terribly far off, but I just want to give everybody a heads up about why we might be asking for more help and more spots and more stipends, and having teachers fill in gaps here and there, like the accelerated program, and that's why it's happening. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Don't have to approve anything tonight, but we'll have specifics coming soon. But yeah, we're looking at then adding, the next step would be the middle school having 2 grade levels simultaneously. So as of next week, or as of Wednesday, as of this week, we'll have 8th grade. They're the last group.
All right.
So that's great. They've been patient, but they're going to get 7 days in school in their first round versus the 5 that 6th and 7th got. And we thought maybe they deserved a little extra for being last. But
Yeah, there was a boy I was speaking to in our neighborhood, and he said, "You're a low man on the totem pole."
No.
And I said, no. You're just the oldest, the most mature, and the most responsible.
That's right. We think the most highly of them. That we would allow them to remote learn the longest. But after they get in, if numbers continue to be good in the county, and they've been very stable since July. I mean, it's amazingly stable, and they creep up, and then they come back down, and then they creep up, and we're monitoring all of that in our own community in Lindenhurst. And so if the numbers stay good, and more importantly, if we can keep kids in school healthy, that's going to be the biggest criteria for keeping us open, is if we have cases in school or symptoms with staff members or students that won't allow us to staff appropriately, that'll be the biggest hurdle. So middle school, we have almost no margin for staffing. Elementary, we have a lot more margin just because of the way it's set up, and we have extra people that can step in and take over a class in an emergency. At the middle school, we don't have that same capacity at this time. So that's been kind of our biggest last hurdle to overcome after the many other hurdles that we've had to overcome. I looked at cost. Parents have been asking, why can't we go full day? We don't have the staffing. It would cost us to staff in the middle school with the small numbers almost $1 million just to staff the afternoon, because all of the teachers are meeting their contractual student contact time already, and if you have to add on top of that for in-person and keep those class sizes that small, and then have just the lunch supervision was about $108,000 at the middle school, and another $220,000 at elementary, just for, it's almost impossible. We'd have to hire another 20 or 30 people to just over the lunch period to cover, because you're not. We used to be able to supervise in mass groups. You could have 2 people supervise 100 kids. Now you have one person supervising 15 kids, and so spreading them out and supervising them in that manner just would be a massive challenge to overcome, which is why we're doing it the way we're doing it.
Well, and it seems like it would invite a lot of unnecessary mixing, which is what we're trying to
Right.
avoid.
So increased risk, you
Yeah.
greatly increase the exposure and risk if you mix kids at all. So there'd be a little bit more mixing, and the increased cost is, at this point, with the current protocols, I don't see how we could do it. So,
Well, if we go into a different phase,
Right.
then it'll change. I know it's unfortunate for folks that we're not, where it's not normal. But I think it's also important to see how far we've come, and to see what we've been able to do. I think everybody understands how challenging it can be from the community standpoint. And I'm not underestimating that at all.
yeah, I think we have a good plan. I think we can keep. We're going to have cases in school. We already have had a case in school. We're going to have more. It's a matter of limiting that spread and infecting others and causing an outbreak. That's what we're trying to avoid.
We don't want them to get it here.
We don't want
We
them.
don't want to be responsible for
No,
that.
no, we don't want to. It's possible, and it could happen and might happen, but even if it is spread, should be still just a very small group, if at all.
Okay.
That's our hope.
Is that
That's it.
all I got? Okay. Could you please bring up the board goals on there?
Oh,
It's
yes.
in the drive. So we, for the first time last year, created our first board goals, governance goals as a board, because we originally thought we do superintendent goals and district goals, and we should also strive for excellence ourselves. So we created board goals, which we then had to revise, of course, when the COVID epidemic hit in March. And we are gonna go through those. And I think rather than doing a formal evaluation process, it will suffice us just to go through, see what we accomplish for next year, and have everyone start looking at what our goals could be for this year. It's a lot more challenging this year for the board to come up with its own governance goals. But I think if we started thinking about it, we could come up with some good stuff. So, there we are.
I think it's just the latest and greatest.
Yep.
Okay, let me share my screen then. There.
Great. Thank you so much. So for governance, create district SMART goals in August and September, which we did. Then we revised in March, or April, I think. Create superintendent evaluation tool in October, which we did. Do a mid-year review of district goals in January, February, we did that. Review the superintendent in June, that was put off until,
No, we did.
June. We did it in June.
Yep.
Complete a board governance review with IASB, which we could not do because they're not doing in-person things right now. Ensure that there's a board member at every CEDAW meeting, which we did do. Thank you, Sean. Update board policies. we have, oh, we were gonna specify a number. We did not, but we updated a lot.
We've
of
been doing a
ordinances.
lot this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. We're,
Most ever.
we're really
great.
getting caught up, yeah. I think we did very well with that. Review and amend board agenda calendar, which we have not done yet, but it's still on our upcoming. Some of these got pushed aside because, we were dealing with only those things that were related to getting back to school and what we were going to have to do that. So that's so we should probably do that next time. Does everybody know where the agenda calendar is in the drive? You can actually just search the drive for agenda calendar and you can check it out. Some of those things may have shifted a little bit in the time of year that we usually take them up. So feel free to take a look at it and bring anything to the board's attention that you think might be changed. I would love to get that on the website so that then the public could know when we usually take these things up and could and knows when to expect discussion on these items. I would like for us to be able to communicate with them. If they want to hear about the district goals, for instance, they can tune in, they can look around late August or September. If they want to hear, about the audit, they can tune in at a certain point and they can expect that. I think that would be a great communication tool about from the board to the community. So we'll check out the board agenda calendar maybe the next meeting. So post Board of Education, yeah, there it is. Professional. So we didn't do that, and we still need to do that. But I would say this, the staff has been a little busy, so I think they'll get to it. It just is. It's taken a little time. Professional development sent 6 to 7 members to the IASB conference. We sent 6, right? Have a delegate attend the delegate assembly. Yes. Was that
Stephen.
That was Stephen.
Stephen or
Thank you,
Brendan?
Stephen. Send at least 3 members to the fall and spring IASB dinners. We blew that away. I think we had 5 or 6 at both. Have at least 3 members take IASB workshops in addition to the Triple I conference, which we did. I did, Denise did. Who else took pre-conference workshops? We did. Yeah. Apply for board governance recognition. That's not this year. Outreach. Every board member attends at least 5 school events. I think I can only speak for myself. I did before.
Yeah, I think I got at least 5 in before we got shut down there.
Yeah.
I would definitely say I was at 5, and then I did the board governance, like all the intro workshops. I don't know if that counts for what you're talking about.
Yeah. Sure. Yes. I'm sure Audrey was at 5. I think I saw her at 5.
Yes, I have. I'm going to go back and count, though.
And I did not do a school visit this year. I do a school visit every year. And did not this year because of COVID. I was going to go check out the social studies curriculum in the middle school. Weren't we going to do that, Denise? I feel like.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
I'm still interested in doing that if we want to circle back after things get back to normal.
Yeah. So unfortunately that didn't happen, but that was not going to happen. Unless someone else did a board visit that I'm not aware. At least 2 board members attend the teacher appreciation celebration.
Yeah.
We didn't get to have it yet.
There's another version of this.
But Denise and I brought a bunch of signs to everybody's houses.
Yes, yes, we did.
Something.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that fills that blank. It was the
We covered Lake County and Wisconsin in a whole day.
I think we both drove around for like 6 hours delivering signs. Yeah. Who knew our teachers were so far away sometimes? But it was very fun, actually, to do that. It was delightful just to see everyone, and I think that kind of fills that blank. And then Denise had helped plan the teacher appreciation celebration, and then that went kaput. So, all in all, pretty darn great considering we lost a third of the year. We got almost everything. So, great job, guys. Now the Triple I conference this year is that it's virtual, as is the Lakes Division dinner meeting. So the program is going to be very good for the Lakes Division meeting though. It's going to be on liability for school boards. And I think that is October. It's coming up.
Wednesday.
Jeez. So if you can make that, that would be great.
Is this Wednesday?
I helped plan this.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I know, it's sorry, almost October 14th. So, yeah, I think that'll be very, very interesting and very helpful for us to understand the liability that's still hanging over us with offering in-person learning in any regard. So, and the Triple I conference will be remote as well. So who all has signed up for that? Signed up for it?
The speaker looked pretty impressive.
They always are.
I still need to sign up.
I did.
Okay. So if we can get folks signed up for that, they always have such informative.
When was the deadline?
I don't know.
I don't think there is a
She's-
deadline. Yeah, because since it's so.
Yeah, we just got something.
I know I saw it, and I meant to do it. Can we resend out the registration link?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have
Or
it?
you can,
No, I
she can
registered.
just,
Yeah.
she just registers
Yeah,
you.
just had to
Steven,
email
she
her.
can do that. She's got it. She's on it.
That's-
Rack is
that's-
on.
That's a little too easy for me. I don't know if I'm comfortable with all that.
Oh, goodness.
Somebody give me a hoop to jump through.
Yeah, November 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Right, 20th. 9 a.m. So hopefully, since it's remote, you know, we could all make it, because they always have amazing speakers. So we'll start thinking about what a good goals list will be in this very strange year for our board governance, and see different ways that we can come up with. I know they're always sending out, Dean Langdon's always sending out opportunities for us to learn more about governance, and any little bit you can do to help edify the group in general is always appreciated. Because if we all take that responsibility, it's part of like the board takes responsibility for itself. We take responsibility for learning what our job is, so that we can run the district well. So, and provide clear direction to our superintendent, so he's not always wondering. Okay. So I will, unless someone else wants to take a crack at coming up with some board goals for next year, let me know. Otherwise, I'll take a crack at them. And if you have any, or if you have any ideas for self-governance goals for this year, please feel free to send them to me, okay? So the future agenda items, the press policy updates, draft of, no, that's off now, that one. But we'll put the, board goals 2020 the 21 in the place of the review of the board self-governance goals. Review of board agreements, review and revise if necessary the board agenda calendar, which we should do next time. Responsible bidder ordinance. Does anybody have anything at this time that they'd like to add for future agenda items for the board to consider? Okay. Just let me know. On to the superintendent report.
Okay, I'll try and be brief, but I'm just going to highlight some of the things we've done lately. Again, it's kind of continuing on our conversation of in-person learning and the school year and remote learning. We have had, was it 175,000 minutes or something of, shoot, that should look, anyway, Zoom calls. We average 43 meetings a day, somewhere in there. At a time, at any one given moment, there's 43 meetings going on every time I check throughout the day in school. So there's lots of Zoom meetings going on, and hundreds of thousands of minutes of Zoom meetings we've had this year. We've had subs now that have been trained and have been in the building and have survived a day or two. We've had lice, just like old times. We've had construction. Yeah, what a joy.
So it's a weird relief, isn't it?
What a joy. We've had a Zoom bomber. We've overcome that challenge. We've had a new challenge every week, it seems like, of something or other, whether it's bringing in a new grade level or construction, or now next week trying to do hybrid for those kids who are in quarantine. We've had thankful parents reach out to us, and anxious parents reach out to us, and thankful and anxious parents reaching out to us, and it's great. We've had staff check-ins that principals are doing every week to check in with the staff and have them rate how they're doing, and do they want someone to reach out, do they want to visit from their team meetings, and they have office hours, and we've had to adjust those office hours a little bit. They've adjusted them so they're more available when teachers are available, because that's kind of important. We've established the leadership team at each school. They're meeting regularly and helping make decisions and provide feedback with the administrative teams at each school, and that's been very valuable. We've moved classrooms for symptoms. We're averaging maybe 3 a week, which is very low, much lower than I expected. We've also moved classrooms for flooding, which we have done in the past as well, but sometimes it's the same. One time it was the same classroom that had already been moved for symptoms. Unfortunately, we've had COVID in the school and we've survived that, and we've had COVID outside of the school and we've survived that. We've not yet had 8th grade in, but that's going to be changed on Wednesday, and we're looking forward to getting that last group in. We've had cross country, we've had golf, we've had a student, Marley, had a hole-in-one last week, which is huge news and a great accomplishment for her. We are now distributing library materials. So the materials that you see in the library will now be distributed to students. They'll be able to sign up through their accounts and get it delivered to their classrooms, and we'll exchange that. We'll be changing out the new iPads soon. We held off till after testing was over because we didn't want to switch iPads and have it screwed messed up. So Now we've taken the new iPads and we're imaging them so that in theory, and we hope when we exchange them that the students won't even know it's a different iPad. They'll know because it looks nicer, but and newer. But saving all of their materials and apps and all the work that they've been doing is key, and we want to make sure that works. So we're going to start to do that with our 8th graders probably next week. And we've created 84 new bus routes that run every single day in this school, which is amazing. And we've routed hundreds of parents who are dropping their kids off and picking them up every day and created that protocol.
Different middle school routes every week.
Different middle school routes every week, yep.
Oh Lord, oh man. Oh, Steve.
So it's,
Same routes, different stops.
yeah.
I had not thought about that. Oh my goodness.
But we've made it work.
As well
So-
as meal deliveries twice a week.
Meal deliveries. Oh, just meal deliveries twice a week?
Goodness.
Yeah, on top of that. Those are just the 84 regular routes that we run every day. It's a lot. And they're all new this year.
And I think
So
all of
good
our
job,
special
Steve.
ed students in private
Laura.
Schools are back now, at least to some degree.
Steve, Laura, and Kathy have done a great job setting all that up and getting it running and keeping our buses rolling. Done a lot of work, lots of details. Oof.
Okay.
That's it for my report.
Okay. On to the business office report. Dr. Dons.
So just a heads up, we're getting ready now to roll into property tax levy. And this will be for the funding for the 21-22 school year.
FY22.
We have to start at this point to get it done, and it has to be filed with the county, but be on or before the last Tuesday in December. And then in my report is the calendar. Audit, we are going to have to request an extension. We had some questions about things that were in the GASB report that so we have a different auditing firm due. And so they're revising their report, so we're waiting on that, and then I still have a few more items to get to the auditor. I attended the EdRed kickoff, and the comptroller, Susanna Mendoza, reassured school districts that we will continue to get money on a regular basis. They have paid out everything that they owed us from last year, and the goal is to continue paying. Now, it still wouldn't surprise me if those categoricals end up at the end of the year that we have 1 or 2 payments that flowed into the next year, but I think we got all of our payments from last year by the end of August.
That's great that they've
Yeah.
made last year's payments all the way through. That's
Yeah.
good.
Now, the thing that helped them is they were able to get, and I think that Illinois is the only state that did it, they got a very competitive loan through the feds, and it sounds bad to take a loan, but by the same token, they're paying less than 3% interest on that loan. If they become delinquent on paying, if it's more than, I don't know if it's 45 days or 90 days, then they have to pay a fairly high interest rate to all the people they owe money to. So this allows them to pay people, and then instead of paying that huge interest rate, they're only paying that small amount that's on the loan. So it is saving. It's still not the best way to operate, but in these times it makes sense, although our state was doing that previously. Just an update on a couple additional properties that regarding the assessed value. And then we also have something I'm looking at with the architect to see what we can do. The Lake Village Fire Protection District is concerned about the location of the fire department connection at the rear of the building. It's actually right next to the wall that houses the dumpsters. And technically there's supposed to be space around it on both sides. I don't know if maybe when they built the building that wall was an addition at the last minute or was a change, but we're looking to see what we can do. There may be a way we can move it onto the side of the building where there would be that connection, but we'll have to communicate with the fire department and talk with them and that'll be something that'll be a project in the future. Cause it's already been that way for, is it 15 years now? How old is that building?
16, 17,
Yeah,
almost.
2007, I think? Or was it
The building was built in 2004.
2004, okay.
Almost seven. Started in 2004.
So is this not the kind of thing that's pointed out when they do the life safety plan, or?
Typically, well, it would have been had somebody noticed it,
Oh.
but basically the fire department comes in once a year and they don't feel like they've done a good job unless they find something to tell us that we need to change. Or at least that's how it seems. You know, we do have somebody different now that we're working with the Lake County Fire, or with the,
Lake Villa.
Fire Department, but that's kind of been the thing, that they come in and they scour and they look for anything that they may have missed, and this has been missed for many, many years.
So would it be possible for us to get a second opinion before we?
Well, I already did send the information to the architect along with the photo, and in talking to the engineers there, they feel like it's probably something that we do need to look at doing, but also something that, you know, we don't need to rush out and do immediately. And that's basically it.
A lot of people doing stuff with property tax reduction right now.
Oh, the other thing too, a lot of schools are now starting to see unemployment fraud. Actually, one of the districts that I was reading about on the ISBO peer-to-peer was actually a business manager who got his own, his or her own unemployment claim, that they did not file. So people are getting, and actually that one actually had his social security number in there.
Ooh.
So it immediately triggered, you know, contacting the police, et cetera. So we haven't seen any of that yet here, but it is something that, we'll keep an eye out for and make sure that we don't, you know, unfortunately in situations like this, people take advantage of the pandemic to, you know, rake in additional money by fraudulent means, so.
Bottom feeding.
It is, it's sad.
It is sad.
Because there are people who need that money.
Yes.
And then there's other people who are using it to profit.
Terrible. Yeah, I was shocked by that. I just thought, oh goodness. I mean, that's a very sophisticated fraud. I mean, you could actually make money in the real, like, you could actually get a job, and if you're that smart, you know what I'm saying? Takes ingenuity to defraud people on that level, so. Goodness. Okay, does anybody have questions for Dr. Johns? Okay, on to board reports.
I just wanted to say that Mr. Jorgensen and Mr. Rollins did such an awesome job putting together the step-by-step video for the you get picked up from school or you get on the bus. It was so thoughtfully done and included literally everything. So anything my kids were like, wait, what about this? What about this? It was like, well, watch the video again. It's right there. It was so seamless, and it made everything so easy last week when the 7th graders were in. It was just really well done.
Carrie and Ben did a video too, didn't they? I feel like I watched one. It was also very good.
Yeah, they're doing a great job getting the kids ready.
Yeah, it's really good.
Fun stuff.
Does anybody else have anything? Okay. There being no further public business, I'd like to move that we adjourn to closed session for the purpose of collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Roll call, please, Veronica.
Ms. Casbon Latour?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yeah.
Ms. I?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Oren? Miss Ori,
Audrey? We have a majority. We can, we can adjourn to closed session.